One of those decks. Okay. So you gotta get... Oh my god. The effect. It's okay, the effect. The effect activates. Raidraptor Final Fortress or Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon? Alright, what is going on right now? Okay. Let's go. Oh, yeah, it's not over yet. If you don't get something on the board now, I'm killing you. Oh, I'm destroying you. Scoop! 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 Oh, flip! Activate the effect of Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon? Yes. What do? Lose 1,000 tackles, your opponent controls. If his monsters inflict 1,000 damage. Free! 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 Okay, so I can only attack with you. Come on. Let's go! Let's go! That was sick! That was sick! What is goody with you all today? My name is RayGVT, and today it's time to fly high and take to the skies once more with today's archetype profile, Raidraptors. Now, I've been reading everyone's comments and suggestions in both my last few videos and in my streams. Do check it out. And you guys have been giving your suggestions, which I greatly appreciate. I also want to take this time to say thank you to all of you for watching my stuff, liking, and engaging with my content. It truly means a lot to me, and if you guys ever want to catch more dueling action, the arena is always open over on my Twitch. All of that out of the way now, the archetype I decided to choose was Raidraptors. Raidraptors are an archetype that I've always skimmed over and never paid any attention to because from face value, I always thought this archetype was really weak until I saw what they're capable of. Raidraptors is one of those decks that, if you let it, will absolutely rock you if you're not prepared. Played by Shun Kurosaki in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 anime, Raidraptors were first introduced during the Arc 5 era in Secrets of Eternity and would later receive more support in numerous sets such as Wing Raiders, Clash of Rebellion, and later Phantom Rage. Raidraptors are a group of dark, winged beast bird monsters with a huge emphasis on swarming that allow you to go into much bigger iron wings through their ability to XC summon almost countlessly and... wait... We've been here before. Okay, let's just address this right away. Raidraptors are always compared to Black Wings in that they're both centered around level 4 dark winged beast monsters that swarm the field and enable you to quickly go into your bigger boss Raidraptor monsters, except this time, rather than focusing on synchro summoning, you're XC summoning. If you've been around the game for a while, you've probably heard things like, Raidraptors are the modern day Black Wings. But I don't know how to feel about that exactly. Yes, their game plans and end goals are both very similar, but Raidraptors does a few things that make them stand apart on their own, and in some cases do better in their strategy. Now, in the overall picture, I do think that Black Wings are still a bit better at what they do for the most part, but I'll touch on that a little later on. For the sake of this video, I'm going to limit the amount of comparisons between the two and focus solely on Raidraptors as this is their video. I'll save my thoughts for which is better and all of that later. Back to what I was saying earlier, I've always thought that Raidraptors are a pretty weak archetype because I just never saw anything impressive in their individual cards, and their Xyz boss monsters just always seemed very mid to me. This was, of course, until I actually played the deck. Now I want to take all of that back because I want to say that Raidraptors have to be one of the more satisfying and rewarding archetypes that I've played of recent times. Yes, it may seem slow or weak, but once this deck gets going, it really gets going. The main deck monsters are designed to search your other Raidraptor monsters and special summon them straight away. Having the resources and necessary cards is always key, and especially during the early game. The Xyz monsters allow you to further search your deck for more Raidraptors and have some extremely damaging effects to your opponent once you start building up and ranking up to your bigger birds. And let's talk about that real quick too. Raidraptor is an archetype that utilizes the rank up magic strategy. Rank up magic was a category or archetype of spell cards introduced during the Zexal era and are spells that allow you to rank up an Xyz monster into another Xyz monster that's one rank higher than the original target. Essentially, a level up to your one monster, but usually carrying a few extra, benefits in its effects. The monster also carries over any Xyz material it had into the new one. These were used in a really cool way in the anime, and in the actual TCG, this is a key strategy for a few Xyz-centric decks. One which we're covering today. Now, Raidraptors actually own the most cards associated with the rank up magic category, owning a whopping 6 rank up cards, and we're gonna go over a few in a little. I've been learning how to play this archetype both on and off stream, and my reactions of this deck have been a roller coaster. I started off thinking, oh boy, here we go. How am I gonna do this? To, oh boy, here we go, let's do this. This is one of those decks that's really surprised me a lot and has really shook my expectations, and I love it when I'm proved wrong like that in this game. So, as I do here, I'm going to take you through the deck list of the archetype that I'm playing and learning, and share with you my experience as I gain an understanding of the archetype and deck over time. So let's go! Your game plan with this deck is to utilize the different level 4 monsters to add more Raidraptors to your hand, or special summon them directly from your deck, and go into your Xyz wings as fast as possible and rank up as far as you can. And with Raidraptors owning a lot of capital in the rank up magic category, they can go really far if you have the resources. Once these Xyz birds come onto the field, they excel in destruction and most times can eliminate multiple targets at once. This then allows you to swoop in for the kill. Raidraptors also have very violent naming patterns in their card names? I mean, tell me what you think when you hear a monster called Raidraptor Strangle Lanius or Raidraptor Pain Lanius. Or how about this one? Raidraptor Avenge Vulture. Okay, that one actually sounds pretty cool. In fact, a lot of them sound really cool. Raidraptor Revolution Falcon and Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon. Or how about Raidraptor Satellite Cannon Falcon and Final Fortress Falcon? Just a bunch of words thrown together that makes it sound so cool. I'm a sucker for that type of stuff, even if it doesn't make any sense at all. Alright, that's enough of that. Why don't we go over the actual deck list now? Raidraptors, similar to Blackwings, have a variety of different monsters that bounce off of each other pretty well. Your key ones, however, are Raidraptor Vanishing Lanius, which allows you to special summon a level 4 or lower Raidraptor from your hand once per turn. This is one of your keys for getting started, especially since all monsters we run in this deck fit that bill. Raidraptor Mimicry Lanius, once special summoned, can increase the levels of all Raidraptors you control by 1. This can be helpful for going into our specific Xyz monsters if you ever find you have to go into your Xyz monsters the hard way. It also has a graveyard effect which lets you banish itself and one Raidraptor monster from your deck to your hand. This is a once per turn effect and can be instrumental as we're continuously searching our deck for more Raidraptors to add to our hand and special summon. Raidraptor Fuzzy Lanius is another key of this deck. If you control a Raidraptor monster, you can special summon this card straight from your hand. This is always a good thing for any deck, especially swarm decks like this one. And when this card is sent away to the graveyard, you can add another Fuzzy Lanius from your deck to your hand. You are locked into only special summoning Raidraptor monsters for the rest of the turn, but obviously that's not an issue in this deck. So it should go without saying that we run this one at 3 always. Tribute Lanius, when summoned, can send one Raidraptor monster from the deck to the grave, and with quite a few Raidraptor monsters having graveyard effects, this is helpful for those activations. My target was always Fuzzy Lanius for this because if I don't have it in my hand, I'd send it to the grave from my deck so I can add another Fuzzy to my hand and special summon it if possible. Are you seeing how good the search power of this deck is yet? If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add one rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand, and it also locks you into only special summoning Raidraptors for the remainder of the turn. Not only do Raidraptors have good search power for their main deck monsters, but they also have a variety of cards that search our rank up magic spells too. Raidraptor Strangle Lanius can special summon itself for free if you already control a dark attribute monster. If you control an Xyz monster with dark Xyz monster as material, you can target a level 4 or lower Raidraptor monster in your grave and special summon it. This is a once per turn effect. Strangle Lanius is a very good card as the situation it comes up in is usually always present, but in this build, I only run 2. Play around with your ratios and see how you go with all of these monsters, because this deck can be quite versatile with all of its monsters in its archetype. Two other little guys I want to run over real quick are both Raidraptor Last Streaks, which can special summon itself from your hand if one of your Raidraptors battles while you have a spell on your field or grave, and then gains you life points for each spell or trap on your field and in your grave. It can also tribute itself to special summon any one Raidraptor Xyz monster in defense position, but its effects are negated and it returns to the extra deck during the end phase. Now, I mainly found myself using this effect so I can get out an Xyz monster and then immediately rank it up so I can bypass it having to return to the extra deck at the end of the turn. This little guy comes in very handy when you have everything you need to get you going or keep you going. Raidraptor Pain Lanius lets you take damage equal to the attack of a Raidraptor already on the field and can special summon itself to the field. Once done so, it can then copy the level of that monster. Great for when you just need another level 4 out there but you just don't have it yet. One last monster I wanted to highlight real quick was Raider's Wing. This card lets you detach one Xyz material from your dark monster and special summon itself, but gets banished when it leaves the field. If it's used as an Xyz material, that Xyz monster then gains the ability to not be able to be targeted by card effects. I only run one in this build, but this card came in very handy. And now for the spells and trap cards. I'm gonna start with just the Raidraptor specific cards and go to the other support ones later. First up, we have Raidraptor Core. This card lets you target one Raidraptor monster you control and special summon one monster with the same name from your hand or deck in defense position and locks you into only special summoning Raidraptors for that turn. Simply put, if you want access to another monster of the same level on your field immediately, you play this, and then play another copy of the card you already have on the field and start shooting for those Xyz summons ASAP. Wing Requidor is a draw card that lets us draw 2 cards if we control at least 2 Winged Beast monsters with different original names at the cost of 600 life points. A small price to pay to soar further beyond. And Raidraptor Nest. If you control 2 or more Raidraptor monsters, you can add 1 Raidraptor monster from your deck to your hand. Extremely useful for continuously searching, especially since, again, some of these guys can special summon themselves from the hand. Really quickly now, let's go over the rank up magic spells we have available to us. Now, for as many Raidraptor rank up magic spells as there are, I only run 2 main ones, but these cards are extremely versatile and you can use whichever ones you want. I did play around with all of them, but these are just the ones that I decided to stick with during testing. At their core, they all do the same thing, but each one has their own unique effects and abilities. Rank Up Magic Skip Force lets us target one Raidraptor Xyz monster and special summon a Raidraptor that's 2 ranks higher than the original target. The original monster is used as Xyz material and all of its overlay units are then transferred over. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish it and 1 Raidraptor monster from your grave, then target another Raidraptor Xyz monster in your grave and special summon it. This is one of the more useful rank up spells I found during testing because it has advantages at almost every turn. Even when it's in the grave, it lets us bring back another Xyz Raidraptor in our grave, and if your grave has been stacking, you can still have access to your arsenal. Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Force. Okay, this one's kinda loaded, but just bear with me for 1 second. So the card reads, during the main phase, banish 1 or more dark monsters from your graveyard, then target 1 dark Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck 1 Phantom Knight, Raidraptor, or Xyz Dragon Xyz monster, whose rank equals that of the targeted monster you control, plus the number of monsters banished, by using it as material. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except Xyz monsters. This is treated as an Xyz summon, and transfer all of its materials to the summoned monster. You can only activate 1 Phantom Knight's rank up magic per turn. Essentially, this lets us get out our Xyz monsters that are a bit harder to summon in this deck, using cards that we banish in combination with the monster of the aforementioned archetypes as material. I found myself using this card to get out our more powerful Xyz monsters like our Rebellion Dragon. Though I only ran 2 main rank up magic spells, there are a few worth mentioning which you should devs play around with and consider when you play this deck. Rank Up Magic Revolution Force, Rank Up Magic Raptors Force, and Rank Up Magic Raid Force are all notable ones and are cards that I kept rotating in and out until I finalized this list. Lastly, we have Raptors Gust. This is our basic counter trap for spell and trap card removal. Raidraptors, unlike their black-winged brothers, lacks natural negates, so any of it that we can get in this archetype, we will take. Okay, now, lastly, let's run through the powerhouses and go over the extra deck. First up, we have a Raidraptor Force Streaks, our essential Xyz of the deck. This guy works great for both starting our Xyz climbs and as an extender to the decks, as it lets us detach an Xyz material and add any one level 4 or lower winged beast from our deck to our hand. It also gains 500 attack and defense for each winged beast monster we control, not counting this card of course. Again, with the nature of this being a swarm centered deck, this card's defense can reach quite the highs. Raidraptor Blaze Falcon can attack directly while it has an Xyz material, and when it inflicts damage to our opponent, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card and destroy as many special summon monsters your opponent controls. Also, if you do this, you can then inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. This is crazy. Do not be fooled by the low attack numbers of some of these monsters. They can still blow you up if you're not ready. I could just imagine my opponent's faces every time when I summoned this monster and then proceeded to just wipe their boards and burn them because I know they didn't read this card. This is a very good card. Up next, we have both Revolution Falcon, who lets us detach one Xyz material, allowing it to attack all monsters our opponent controls once each. But it gets better. When this card battles a special summon monster, that monster's attack and defense becomes 0. And if this card has a Raidraptor Xyz attached to it as material, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of that monster. You see what I mean by these cards excel in destruction? Again, don't be fooled by the low attack number of some of these monsters. They will wreck your shop if you allow them. This card also has another version called Revolution Falcon Air Raid with a slightly more powered up effect, and it lets you summon back the regular Revolution Falcon if it gets destroyed. Arsenal Falcon is where we start going big. Once per turn, we can detach a material from this card and special summon one level 4 or lower winged beast from our deck. This card can attack up to the number of Raidraptor monsters it has attached to it as material. You can also special summon one Raidraptor Xyz monster from the extra deck except Arsenal Falcon and attach this card to it as material from our grave. This card is pretty huge for this deck and is great for overwhelming our opponents. It also works great in sort of being a searcher, as it allows us to, again, summon any one level 4 or lower winged beast from our deck. Satellite Cannon Falcon is our big spell and trap removal card. If this card was Xyz summoned by using a Raidraptor monster as material, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. And also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So your opponent is basically just left stuck as they watch their entire back row get blown up. It also has a debuff effect that lets you detach one material from this card and reduce your opponent's monster's attack by 800 for every Raidraptor monster in your grave. This card does cover our bases a bit better considering we don't have much in spell and trap removal, as I mentioned before. And coming last are our big birds of the deck. Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon is a level 10 Xyz monster that's unaffected by other card effects. He can detach one material from this card, and for the rest of the turn, all monsters our opponent controls lose 1000 attack points. Also, our opponent can't activate card effects as long as we have a Raidraptor monster attached to this card. During the end phase, our opponent's monsters lose 1000 attack, and if they control no monsters, then they just take 1000 damage. Just like that, they just have to take it. If they don't have any monsters, then they just have to eat that 1k damage. This is the big bird that we're always working towards to next to Final Fortress, and is my favorite card in this whole archetype. Not only does it sound cool, but it looks so cool too. I highly recommend running 2 of these in the extra deck. The only reason why I couldn't was because of the nature of Master Duel. I just didn't have the extra UR to spare at the time. But if I did, I would add a second copy. Final Fortress Falcon is another big bird that's unaffected by other cards if it has a Raidraptor attached to it as material. You can detach one material from this card and return all banished Raidraptors back to the grave, and up to twice per turn, when this card destroys a monster by battle, it can attack again. Yikes. We also have Y Streaks, which serves as our rank up magic spell searcher and lets us special summon any one level 4 or lower winged beast from our deck at the cost of having its effects negated. This is another one that I highly recommend running at least 2. Lastly, we have Raider's Knight, a card that helps us boost our Xyz summoning with our rank up magics, and borrowing the spirit of our best friend, we have Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This is a loaded card and is extremely powerful. It can't be destroyed by card effects for starters, and when we detach an Xyz material, this card gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field. Then, if this card has a Dark Xyz material, negate the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field. But we can't declare attacks with other monsters on the field. This card can reach some insane numbers and can be our game winner a lot of the times. If you haven't picked up on it already, this archetype synergizes extremely well with the Phantom Knights archetype and is the route to go if you want to play this deck really optimally. But I think the two can stand on their own pretty well as individual decks. This archetype excels in both swarming and destruction and can bypass a lot of things that some other decks can usually throw at you. Where it fails though is if your opponents can stop you from special summoning, essentially locking you out of a lot of options including your extra deck. This deck also breaks in the face of spell and trap negation because of its heavy reliance on the rank up magic spells. Literally any card or strategy that prevents spells and traps, this deck just most likely crumbles. Also, because of the nature of Raidraptors and Blackwings to an extension, any attribute changing effects basically stop the deck to a halt because a lot of the keys of this deck specifically mention dark attribute monsters. I ran into all of these issues in my time in the arena, but when I did my absolute best to play around them and found some solutions that surprised me. So why don't I show you? And now, onto the duels. Okay, and now coming up onto the first duel that I have to showcase to you guys, I kind of want to start showcasing first up in this duel just the absolute power that Raidraptors can have once you do get them going. Raidraptors can do some pretty insane things, especially if you allow the whole swarm element to kick in. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna be able to just Xyz summon straight up using my Vanishing Lanius. We're gonna go into our 4 streaks. Don't ask me why I summoned it in attack position. That's because I don't intend for it to stick around very long, because I'm gonna be able to just go ahead and rank it up straight away, just no delays and nothing else. We're gonna go from our rank 4 into our rank 5 Blaze Falcon, and now Blaze Falcon is gonna go up onto the field. We're gonna add another Vanishing Lanius to our hand, and we're gonna rank up our Blaze Falcon again into our rank 6 Arsenal Falcon. Now, rank 7, my apologies. Rank 7 Arsenal Falcon is what we're going to be able to finish on here. There's not really too much that we're able to do here. Our opponent is going to get passed over now. They're going to try and activate the Dark Hole, but we're going to say nope and activate our Raptor's Gust, which is our only spell and trap removal in terms of just like the spell and traps outside of Satellite Cannon Falcon. Our opponent is going to be able to keep going here, and it's here that I kind of start, that I find out, like, fully that they're playing Rocket Dragon Link. They're gonna go ahead and summon their Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon is gonna do its thing. It's gonna add that Boot Sector launch to their hand, which they're then going to be able to activate. So here we see our opponent is going to be able to just start going off with the whole Rocket Linking strategy. As you guys know, Rocket Dragon Link is a strategy that allows you to special summon quite a few times in the lead up to your bigger boss monsters, your Borlow Dragons, blah blah blah, etc etc. Our opponent is going to be just finish up onto the Triple Burst Dragon, which is going to pass back to us. Interestingly enough, I was expecting a little bit more, but I don't know. We're gonna do what we do here anyway. We're using our Vanishing Lanius and our Mimicry Lanius. We are gonna be able to link summon into our Raidraptor Y Streaks. Now, Y Streaks is gonna do its thing. It's gonna be able to get us our Fuzzy Lanius, which was in our grave previous turn as well. Arsenal Falcon is going to activate its effect by detaching the material. We can get another level 4 Raidraptor onto the field, and Y Streaks is going to be able to set us that rank up magic spell face down onto our field. We're then going to be able to go ahead and just Exceed Summon into our four streaks one more time, which we're then going to immediately rank up. Now, this is something that I just really want to showcase to you guys. This is Raidraptors once they get going. So over here, you're going to see Revolution Falcon Air Raid come in, who's going to be able to just pop the monster, and we're going to be able to just go in and swing with both our Y streaks and our Arsenal Falcon, putting us at a pretty comfortable spot, but nothing to, you know, rejoice over just yet. This is Rocket Dragon Link. This is a very, very strong strategy. Even playing, you know, pure rockets, Borreloads, that type of thing. Our opponent is going to be using as much resources as they can. They're going to be able to get their Borreload Riot Dragon out here now, which is going to just completely decimate our Arsenal Falcon. But Arsenal Falcon isn't completely out of the game yet, as it's going to allow us to bring in our Final Fortress Falcon. And Y Streaks is also going to do its thing again, set us that rank up magic face down. And we're going to be able to just pop off from there again. Our Revolution Falcon is then going to go into our Ultimate Falcon, my absolute favorite Raidraptor monster in this entire archetype. It just looks so freaking cool. But it's gonna get passed back up to us. Our Ultimate Falcon here is gonna be able to do its thing. It's gonna debuff our opponent's Riot Dragon. And this deck, once it starts moving, you can tell that I'm kind of having a hard time kind of keeping up with the duel at this point. But at this point, I kind of just want to let you guys see for yourself just what this deck is capable of. This is a strategy that is much stronger than Raidraptors, but again, Raidraptors has some force of its own. We have our Final Fortress Falcon that is going to be up there. Our Raiders Knight is going to swing into that Riot Dragon. It doesn't matter that it doesn't get destroyed because our Ultimate Falcon is going to go in for the final blow, and that is going to do it for game number 1. So I just wanted to show you guys just how much power Raidraptors has. Like, if you allow it to get going, if you allow it to just pop off, and once you get into once you keep Exceed climbing into your more powerful Raidraptor monsters, at a certain point, it's kind of like, okay, I've got this. And that's just something that I wanted to showcase to you guys, just the absolute power of Raidraptors here, being able to play, go toe-to-toe with a strategy like Rocket Dragon Link and all of its powerful boss monsters. And that's gonna do it for our game number 1. Okay, and now coming up onto this next duel that I have to showcase to you guys. Now, this duel that I want to show off is arguably the most interesting duel that I have to show to you guys, as it kind of showcases a lot of like what Raidraptors are able to do using, you know, what they have with their resources. They are a deck that is a little bit more limited than most other decks, but I'm gonna try my best to kind of show you guys what you're able to go up against and like how you're able to play around certain situations. So we're gonna be going up against Sword Soul in this duel. Now, this happened in the later ranks as I had kind of gained more confidence in playing this deck. I'm going up against Sword Soul in, I believe it was Gold 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and just be able to straight away rank into our 4 streaks. We do have our Fuzzy Lanius on the field as well. And this is just Raidraptors popping off. You can see our opening hand from the beginning of the duel was just great. So using everything that we absolutely can, my goal here is to just get as much material as I can onto the field so that I can swarm the board with all my Exceed boss monsters as early as I can, and just try, and the key word there is try, to overpower my opponent. So we're going to go into our Blaze Falcon here. Blaze Falcon is going to be able to just pop our opponent's monster, and we're going to immediately be able to just rank up on top of it. We're not going to be using its attack effect or anything like that, but we're just going to go into our Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon is also going to do its thing by detaching 1 material. We can summon a level 4 Raidraptor onto our field. Using the material that I now have on the field, I can go into my Y Streaks, and Y Streaks again is going to be able to do its thing. Add another Raidraptor onto our field, which is level 4. Now here, I make the choice to add the Raidraptor's Nest effect, Raidraptor's Nest, rather than any other Raidraptor card, because Raidraptor's Nest is going to allow us to get another monster into our hand From then, I'm going to be able to just go in and just swing because I've kind of just reached the end of my combo. I can't really do much else, so I'm going to be able to go ahead and swing. My opponent is now going to get started with their turn, and this is where we see them just absolutely just go off. Now, I'm going to admit, I was a little bit worried in this duel once I saw the Berserker of the Tenyi guy, the Draco Berserker of the Tenyi guy pop up, because every time this card has come up for me, it's never ended very well. But our opponent is going to keep going. They're going to fusion summon into their Dragon Necro. They're going to add the Ghost Fusion into their hand as well. And they're going to be able to just continuously synchro summon up until they get into the Supreme Sovereign. Now, going into the battle phase, Tenyi is going to swing into our Arsenal Falcon, and you know, Tenyi's effect is gonna pop off. It allows it to, I think it like gains attack every time like it attacks, and it can attack like a second time or something like that. I don't know, I don't remember reading this effect, but they're gonna go ahead and swing with their Sword Soul again. And yes, Tenyi is gonna be able to go ahead and swing once more, which is gonna deal some damage to us. But at this point, I'm like, okay, this is kind of a tough situation because I'm staring down two very, very strong monsters that I need to be careful how I play around. So I'm just gonna try and do my thing here. So it sucks here because the Sword Soul guy, I'm sorry, I don't play Sword Soul, so I'm not too familiar with the deck myself. But the Sword Soul guy, Sovereign, he basically just debuffs all of my monsters every time just almost anything happens. I remember I didn't really read its effect fully because Sword Soul is one of those decks that I haven't gotten around to, but it is a deck that I have faced numerous times before. It is a very, very powerful deck. So here, I'm gonna be able to flood the board, but not in the sense that I was hoping to. I do have some Xyz monsters out there and some other effect monsters out there, but it's just not going to be enough to climb over what our opponent has. Our opponent is going to be able to continuously synchro summon again. So they're playing, I think it's like Shiranui Sword Soul. I don't know exactly what variant of the deck this is, but they're going to lock us down quite hard here. Like, my birds are basically grounded right now. I can't really do too much. I can't really do anything at all, even having, you know, the advantage of numbers on my side. They're gonna go ahead and synchro summon into Shiranui Sun Saga. Sun Saga is gonna be able to do its thing here, and yeah, basically everything just gets popped on my field, but Air Raid's effect does activate in the grave. So Air Raid is going to get banished, which is going to allow us to add the regular Revolution Falcon onto our field. Now, it's here where my opponent kind of, I don't know if it was overconfidence, but obviously I'm not reading their cards. They're not reading my cards. They're going to go ahead, swing into all of my monsters. There's not going to be much that I'm able to do, but they're going to attempt to swing into my Revolution Falcon. And you guys know Revolution Falcon's effect. Every time something swings into it, it just doesn't work out. And so I think that was just more of a misplay on my opponent's end. A Revolution Falcon is going to be able to hold it down for us, securing the W, and I think that's actually a good victory to celebrate, so I will take that, and that's gonna do it for game number 2. And now coming up onto this duel. This duel was kind of a weird one. I'm trying to showcase again more of the power and like what you can reach, like the numbers that you can reach with Raidraptors. They start off really, really weak, but if you are able to climb your way up into the higher ranks of the higher ranked Xyz monsters, you are able to do some serious damage to your opponent, and that's something that I really want to try and showcase here in this duel. Now we're going to do our thing as we always do. We're going to be able to rank into our 4 streaks first up, and our Raider's Wing is going to be able to activate from our hand, summoning it straight onto the field. Fuzzy Lanius is also going to get added to our hand. I'm going to be able to just summon that up onto the field straight away. I'm going to rank up my 4 streaks. Now, 4 streaks in these duels doesn't really stick around for too long, but when I was playing this deck, both on stream and off stream, 4 streaks is the type of monster that like sticks onto the field as much as it can, because it benefits the more that we have more Raidraptors on the field. But anyway, moving on beyond that, I have Wise Streaks now up onto the field with my Blaze Falcon. Wise Streaks is going to be able to activate its effect, which is going to add us our level 4 monster. I'm going to go ahead and swing into my opponent's face down and swinging into the Marshmallow. Now, I'm going to be honest. The first time, I didn't really read what this card does. I know of this card, but I don't know its effect straight off by heart. But anyway, our opponent's turn is going to go up next. They're gonna just reveal the Swords of Revealing Light and try to just lock us down as best as they can. So here I figure, okay, I really need to get rid of this back row because I need to finish this duel very quickly, because if this is the type of deck that I think it is, which it probably is, I need to get rid of, first of all, the swords, but just everything else that they have in their back row. So I'm gonna start trying to work my way up into the higher ranks to see if I can get to my Satellite Cannon Falcon as quickly as I can. And here is me just kind of in the process of thinking, okay, I need to get Satellite Cannon Falcon because he's literally our only hope of spell and trap removal. I'm gonna go ahead and set the rank up magic, which I'm then gonna activate onto our air raid, and here he is. Here it is. It's gonna be able to come on out. Our Raidraptor Satellite Cannon Falcon, who is gonna absolutely just obliterate our opponent's back row. We're gonna continue just popping off with our effects. Our Mimicry Lanius is gonna add the Raidraptor Core to our hand, and we're gonna be able to Xyz summon one more time into the Raider's Night. Now here, I go into the battle phase. I try to use Blaze Falcon's effect, but again, it was something with Marshmallow's effect that I just didn't read, and that was kind of just a little bit of an oversight on my part. I kind of just saw the monster, I'm like, oh, okay, you can't be destroyed. Oh, okay, well, let me just deal the damage, but obviously that didn't work. So not even with the Raider's Knight either. So I'm gonna get rid of the Raider's Knight here, rank up the Raider's Knight into our Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, a monster that I really want to showcase for you guys because this card is absolutely insane. So by detaching one Xyz material, I'm gonna be able to just continuously go off with my effects. Our Arc Rebellion is gonna get a massive attack boost here. I'm gonna be able to activate the rank up magic as well from my Blaze Falcon, going now into our Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon is going to activate its effects, which is going to get our level 4 onto the field one more time. We're going to go ahead and battle, this time being able to destroy the Marshmallow. But due to Arc Rebellion's effect, if you use its effect during the turn that it's summoned, you can only attack with it once. Now here, I absolutely wanted to cry. I'm gonna go ahead and get Darkhold, but it's not over because our Arc Rebellion does stay on the field because of its effect. Ultimate Falcon is gonna be able to go off from our extra deck because of the effects of the Raidraptors in our graveyard. So here I'm like, okay, it's not over yet. I can still pull this out. Like, you're not gonna be able to board wipe me so easily. So here I have just an absolute army of birds and dragons. And I'm gonna be able to just reach insane numbers with Arc Rebellion Dragon's effect, going in for the final blow. Now, this duel here, I really just kind of wanted to showcase Arc Rebellion and how well it fits. Just in this deck, you guys already know that Phantom Knights Raidraptors go kind of hand in hand. So that's a little bit of my thought process behind kind of playing Raidraptors as I was figuring out. I really hope you enjoyed the showcase, and yeah, I'm gonna pass it over now. And so once more, that is gonna do it for the video today, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the showcase of Raidraptors. It's definitely one of the more satisfying decks that I've played of recent, as it surprised me so much at so many points too, just in what it can do. It seems like a very weak deck from just glancing at it at face value, which is something that I was guilty of accusing it. But man, this deck rocks. Now, just some things that I learned while playing this deck over the past few weeks. It definitely has its weaknesses and downsides, as any deck does, such as in its limited ability to work around spells and traps, and it felt like one of those decks that has quite a few key choke points that make it hard to function at times when hit. It's a deck that can be shut down quite easily too, but some upsides is that I found the deck is great at recovering from those big board wipes and is able to just pick it all up again, and I guess that's just the nature of a Swarm deck like this. It has some of the best collection of Xyz monsters too, in my opinion, as these monsters cover a lot of your bases in different and varying effects to help support those different angles where it might lack. Now, between this and Blackwings, I definitely think that Blackwings are still the superior flyers in the sky, as they just have a lot better support and can do so many different things. They excel at both being aggressive and defensive, whereas I feel Raidraptors kind of just lean more to the aggressive side of things, because once you stop this deck, it can be trouble. But don't let that take away from the fact that Raidraptors is still a very strong archetype that's worthy of soaring the skies alongside their Blackwing brothers. Play around with this deck and give it a shot with some different cards, and try some ratios with your support and rank up magic spells and see where you can take the deck yourself. But anyways guys, thanks so much for suggesting this deck and archetype for me to try out. It was a lot of fun to fly high again. What are some other archetypes that you guys would like to see me showcase? Let me know below, or swing by my streams where we run weekly Master Duel rounds. But thank you guys for watching, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I did making it, and I'll see you guys in the duel arena.